Hello, welcome to I Hate Rock Music. I am your host, Brian Fox, and this video is going to be about the band Horse out of the UK. And they've got a little more high profile now. It's been a collector's item for a lot of years, but it's been reissued a lot of times, oftentimes as a bootleg. But there's an official reissue out there now, and it's got a great mix. And the versions I heard over the years didn't have that great of sound quality, but this one now has a great sound quality. There's great layers of guitar overdubs on the rock tunes and some really meaty, fat riffs. But the band was together from 1968 to 1971. Has Rick Parnell on drums, who of course ended up in Atomic Rooster. Rod Roach on guitar, who was briefly in Andromeda, I think before this. Adrian Hawkins on vocals and Collins Stadring on bass. So a three piece with vocals, and they did a lot of shows with a lot of big headliners. So they definitely got good exposure. They opened for Deep Purple, Joe Cocker, David Bowie, Family, Status Quo, Genesis, and Heavy Jelly. So they definitely were running with the big dogs. And I would love to hear what they were like live on most of the heaviest tunes on the record. They obviously were a really smoking live band, would be my guess. And reading reviews of them and interviews, that seems to be the case. And one of the reasons why it's got such an odd production is Rod Roach, actually, the guitar player in the band, produced the record. But it was done at Olympic Studios, so they definitely had got bankrolled because Olympic Studios was a big studio at the time and expensive. So the album came out 1970 on RCA, just called Horse, and they almost got signed to Chrysalis, I guess, but they didn't want to be with the kind of this burgeoning new label, and they thought RCA would be the way to go. But there's a two CD reissue of it now, and it has a lot of material from 1969. And I have to say that the material from 1969, you can see the formative elements of what became Horse, but overall it's pretty primitive, not very well recorded. But the main thing I want to mention is that it's pretty primitive. They even do a cover of Born to Be Wild, and it's not wild, and it wasn't Born to Be Wild, not in their hands. So unfortunately, I have to kind of pan the second disc with the 69 demos. But you get into the album, it starts off great. And I know I might ruffle some people's feathers because a lot of collectors out there, a lot of reviewers talk very highly of Horse, but um, there's one song on there called To Greet the Sun, which is acoustic and has a lot of psychedelic elements. And as I've mentioned in video after video, I am intrigued by these bands that kind of bridge the gap between psychedelia and the new 70s hard rock, and Horse is definitely that way. And they start off more of a 70s kind of sounding band to me. You get this spooky howl to start off of the song, The Sacrifice, which is one of the best songs on the album. Got really great unhinged vocals, lots of guitar overdubs. Guitar parts are really good, and there's some great growling, and I love songs with growling in them. And then the riffs are really heavy. And then the same thing with the second song, See the People Creeping Around. Big fat riffs, has some psychedelic elements, but a really cool arrangement. A lot of great guitar work, and then it ends up with a bunch of guitar noise at the end. So I really like that. But after that, for me, it gets a little dicey. The last song, Step Out of Live, is really heavy. So they finish up with heavy, but kind of everything in between is a little flatter than I would have liked. And I Have Loved You with acoustic and electric guitar. Has some really nice harmonies, but one foot in psychedelia. And Freedom Rider, they add some piano, and the record starts just getting a little more psychedelic and kind of drifts away from a lot of the heavy riffs. Freedom Rider, Lost Control, The Journey, Heat of the Summer, and Gypsy Queen are all kind of standard British rock. I wish they'd stuck with the massive riffs that are on the second and third song, and the last song on the album would have been a lot stronger record. So As far as records that I recommend or don't recommend, I recommend this with some hesitation. I think it starts off really great. The stuff on it that's great is really great, but it's pretty inconsistent. And the fact that they have about 6 songs that are a little more pedestrian following such a great introduction to the album makes it kind of a disappointment for me. But great lineup. The cover's really awesome. I love these bands that bridge the gap between psych and hard rock. But this one I'm on the fence about, so I'll leave it for you to decide. I can't wholeheartedly recommend it, but as I mentioned, the stuff that's great on it is definitely worth hearing, but it's not something I'm going to pull out that often. So there you go, Horse. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.